Hey, loves, welcome back. I am so excited about this episode today. We are talking to Kate Juozaitis, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. But first, I'm going to tell you about our title, Finding Your North Star, The Power of Purpose and Fulfillment. And can't we all use that topic right now? So, Kate and I met on season 15 of The Blocks. It's a competition reality TV show. And we spent a week in like a business incubator, and we were competing against other contestants. And she just had such a bright light. Talk about purpose and fulfillment. Talking to her, you can just tell this woman knows what she's doing, knows where she wants to go. And it was just a beautiful experience that week in Tulsa. So, I'm so glad that she gets to share her expertise with all of us today. So, Kate, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
Well, as I did on the blocks every single time, I am Kate. Kate, she is great. I am the purpose facilitator coach and a therapist for like over 20 years.
Love that. Purpose facilitator coach. Can you tell us what that is?
So I utilize an assessment called the purpose assessment, and I help people really help define their purpose in four major categories. So I think a lot of people get purpose and passion confused. And so I help them really hone in on exactly who they are, the best that they have to offer in life so that they feel say that 10 times fast. Feel
I
fulfilled.
know.
Feel fulfilled. Feel
Feel
fulfilled.
fulfilled. I love it. And I didn't even know that people did that specifically. And I think it's so important that people know the distinction between those two things
Oh
because
yeah.
they are different. Yeah. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about your journey to I don't know if it was changing your purpose. I know that you recently sold a practice or shut down a practice and decided to go full
I
blown
haven't
into
yet.
coaching. Oh,
I
you haven't
haven't
yet?
yet. No. No, it's a struggle. It's a struggle letting go of something. I will speak on that. It is a struggle to
Okay.
let go of something that was absolutely once my dream. I mean, being in graduate school, that was my dream, was to own a group practice, and so I did all of that. And then, you wrestle a little bit with the fact that the dream changed because you've changed. I'm still living in my purpose, but it's sometimes just a little bit harder to let go of something that once was so that you can reiterate into the next version of who you were to become.
Yeah.
We all have that problem. It's not that I'm afraid of change, but it is sometimes hard to let go of your past, let go of parts of who you've been, knowing that there's a better version of yourself on the other side.
Yeah. I think just that you sharing that alone is going to provide so much clarity for someone. And it helps me honestly because I'm in this process of change, changing the way I show up, changing the way I do things. The podcast is one of those changes. Yet my purpose has remained the same. My purpose has always been I want more people to go to therapy. Therapy has been so transformative for me personally. And I've gotten to see other people transform throughout this healing process in the therapy room. So the purpose is still the same. Maybe how it looks is different and maybe how I fulfill it is different. So I love that you said that because I know a lot of people going through a change right now in business and personally.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, in the world right now, we're seeing change happen like super fast. And, shaking the boat on a lot of people and really figuring out where they want to go. When people are unhappy is really when they need to lean more into their purpose.
Yeah, I would agree. What would you say are the key indicators of someone who is in alignment with their purpose?
Well, according to the assessment, you have to hit four targets. So it is your natural advantage. So that's just naturally what you come to this world with. So your gifts. And then I have my notes.
Go
You have
for
your
it.
acquired skills. So the tools that you've learned along the way. And then you have your pull passion. These are the problems that you like to solve. You're automatically drawn to solve them. You and I have the same one. I'm
I
almost
bet.
sure of that. And then your origin strength, and that one's going to be unique to everybody. So your origin strength comes from your origin story and how you overcame really hard things.
Oh, I like that. Already, or just listening to those four categories, I'm thinking, I want to take that.
I want to give you the assessment. It's
Take
honest
it.
to God, it's so in depth. Like for an assessment that takes 20 minutes to give, It
Yeah.
gives you 49 pages of in-depth view of yourself. You're going to think like I've been rummaging through your garbage and, sneaking into your house late at night, because that's how in-depth it gives the information back to you.
Yeah. Do you find that when you give this assessment to people and you're working with them, they struggle to accept some of it?
Sometimes I think it's when they choose not to when they take the assessment under kind of like duress or stress, or maybe when something major just happened in their life, then they're going to see some shifts in the results of their assessment. But if they take it pretty neutral, then they're going to be like, well, yeah, that's just been who I've been all along. But we forget, like, we all get lost. I mean, I did my own. I had to assess myself, so I did my own test. And I did take it kind of like in that shift for myself
Mhm.
in life, like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What's the next move for me? And it just brought me back to like reminding myself of who I am and who
Yeah.
I've actually always been. And if I go all the way back to even when I was a little girl, it was very clear, like the path that I have been on, and by no mistake, I continue to be on.
Yeah. That's
It's
beautiful.
helpful.
It sounds helpful. Okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
hit you up afterwards.
It but you know what? And I'll speak for like women,
Yeah.
because we go through I would say, I'm not gonna, well, it might sound bad, but like we go through the harder transitions and we get lost easier because we put everybody else ahead of ourselves. So we lose our purpose probably more often. And so it's just nice to like, so like when you get divorced, right? That's going to be that's going to just shake you.
Yeah.
Or when the kids all leave the house. I have a lot of women that I'm doing this with right now that are becoming like empty nesters. And they're like, I
Yeah.
don't know what my purpose is. Or they've gone through a big change in their careers. Like they were at the top and then, I don't know, they had layoffs and now they have to start all over again. And those are those moments where coming back to your purpose, which is the long game, is really important. And
Yeah.
when you can be in alignment with who you are just essentially meant to be, right? You're just happier. You're more able to give.
I agree with that. And you just make me think about the issues that women experience versus men. And I love doing this podcast because as I'm talking to people, I start to reflect on my own journey. And I have fought hard to maintain my identity as a woman, as Marquita outside of motherhood, while also saying motherhood is a very important part of myself. And just understanding from listening to the stories of other women that, hey, that's going to change as they continue to age, as they start, venturing out more, as loosen your grip a bit and let them explore life a little more. And once they become adults and once it's just you and your husband and your empty nesters, life is going to look different. So it's so important that you maintain that part of your identity that you started with. And maybe that evolves over time. Mine certainly has.
Absolutely.
It evolves. And just knowing what my purpose is ultimately, though, is so important. And always going back to, I can't just be Marquita the mom. I have to continue to maintain these other parts of myself. That's how I find fulfillment in
That's
my life.
and that's really hard for a lot of women. I mean, being a couples therapist and doing so much couples coaching as well, I'm like, that is so hard for women. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a not mom, so he's not my kid. He's my man's
Okay.
kid. Because I gotta
Not mom.
I'm a not mom, but I gotta not my kid.
We have a whole new phrase that I just learned. A not mom, not my kid, mom.
My kid, I love him the same. I love him
Yeah.
the same, and I want really good things for him, and I want him to grow and develop and be a strong man. But, I only have so much influence because he's not my kid.
Yeah.
But I understand more so now, I think, stepping into that role about the big change for women as they go through those transitions. I'm grateful for it, though, I am standing on the outside of it.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the experience.
Yeah. It sounds like it when I see your posts. When you post your not mom posts, you just seem so proud of him.
I am. He's not mine, but you can absolutely love those that aren't yours
Yeah,
just
you
as much.
can. You sure can. Well, and you mentioned that you work with couples, and I'm curious to know how that pops up for couples when maybe you can tell that the wife has not fulfilled her purpose or she's not in alignment with it, and maybe her husband is. What are some of the signs that someone's not in alignment with their purpose? Especially when you meet with couples, I'm curious.
Oh God. Well, in their case, it usually shows up in the lack of intimacy and connection that they have in their relationship.
Okay.
So when she is out of alignment in her purpose, or she's more um how do I want to explain it? I mean, just dissatisfied, right? And almost always purpose comes to play. And not knowing who they are, right? Or they're splitting their time, right? Trying to do everything. Oftentimes, I would say with women not willing to ask for help.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we've got it now. Like it almost, if we ask for help, we're damned if we're do and we damned if we don't.
Hmm.
Um, because we need help, but we're not guaranteed that we're going to get it,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's usually how they show up into my office. It's usually he's complaining that he's not getting enough sex, and
Hmm.
that's like, okay, but have you asked why? Like,
Yeah.
what is it like even when you are having sex? Like, do you pay attention to her?
Yeah.
I think I've probably told more couples in the last year that sex isn't just about the big O.
Hmm.
And I was like, and everybody who told you that,
They are lying.
right? Because it can be fun and you're still not always going to reach that magical moment. Like, even for guys, I'm like, guess what? You don't get it all the time either.
Hmm.
Oh, and they're just like, but if she doesn't get it, then I haven't done my job. And I was like, have a
Yeah.
conversation with her. Like, that might not be true.
Hmm.
Like, if she got 20 minutes away from everything else, like, and she had a good time and it wasn't just about you, I'm like, it was fulfilling. And that was
Yeah.
good too.
Yeah. Love that. So
Like,
interesting that time. What were you gonna
we can talk
say?
about that all the day.
I know, right? Like I think about the journey to getting to the big O. And a lot of people do just sum it up to, well, she's not getting that. So, but what else is she getting? And asking those questions. That's why psychotherapy is so important, especially for couples to explore that because it's oftentimes something psychological, something there's layers below. It has nothing to do with you, buddy. You smell good. You look good.
I
You
mean, you might
passed
have put
all the
on a
tests.
couple of pounds, but she doesn't mind.
She doesn't mind. But what else is behind it, behind that connection? And even just someone not feeling fulfilled and not feeling like they're finding their purpose, I can imagine it's very hard to be in that moment with their partner and connect when all that stuff is in the background. So,
Oh, sure. That becomes
yeah.
part of the mental load on top of like everything else that she's got going on. That becomes a part of the mental load. Like, how am I getting what I need from my life? And that's usually those are the terms,
Yeah.
my life.
My life. Yeah. What's the impact of all of that for I know you mentioned a few things, but just like a woman who is she's married, she's in this relationship, she loves him, but there's not really that physical connection that she wants because there's all this stuff in the background. When someone really isn't in alignment with their purpose and they're not fulfilling the dreams that they had, how does that show up in the day to day with their mothering, in their career, even with their partner?
I would say most women, the first thing they say is, I'm tired. And it's like, are you emotionally tired? Are you physically tired? Are you mentally tired? We have to start using different words. Or my favorite, and it's like my nemesis, I swear, I'm upset. Great. What does that mean? Upset is not a definitive word, right? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? What does upset mean to you? And those are probably the first things that trigger me is like, no, go deeper. What does it
Go
mean? Go
deeper.
deeper. Please go deeper. What else does that mean? Um, and almost always they come down to, I am unfulfilled. Great. Now, pick a part of your life that you're unfulfilled. And they never are unfulfilled in being a mom. And I find that always that's beautiful, right? I'm
Mhm.
unfulfilled as being a spouse. And some of them, though it's not even half, it's a very small percentage that say they're unfulfilled as a spouse.
Yeah.
It is that they're unfulfilled in their own personal life. And it's funny, it's part of the training. We all went through it. I know I went through it. Like, you aren't going to be anything unless you are married and have children. That was the message I got. And I'm never surprised. The younger generations, I think when I have 20-year-olds who come in and they say that, I'm just like, did we not learn anything? Your parents are my age. Like, did we not learn anything?
Mhm.
Like, we can't keep doing that to our daughters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's the part that needs to change. But that is almost always, they feel like they have to give up everything to be a spouse and a mother.
Yeah.
And
And I
yet
think
at the
that
same
is,
time, we're held to this high standard.
yes, we are. And it is part of the training. When I think about, growing up in Louisiana, when I left high school, I went to college mainly because everyone was saying you should go to college.
Ah, the
But
shoulds.
you should go to college. You're smart, go to college. I don't remember leaving high school thinking I want to go to college and get a degree and all those things. I really just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and have kids and get married. And that was as far as I could see. Just have kids, get married, and going to college really expanded my views on who I could be, what I could be. I thought I wanted 8 kids, Kate.
Girl, how many do you
2.
have? Okay.
I took a population and society class, and that was it. I thought, "Oh, there's more to this." I remember the class because I will never forget. Yeah, and, just seeing the women in my hometown, seeing the men, just growing up in church, it wasn't even important for me to know what some of these women did in my life, right? Like, I knew what my mom did for work, I know what my dad does, but just knowing what other people do, I just don't remember anyone saying, "Oh, yeah, she works at the bank and this is her position and this person works," and I just wasn't
Right.
exposed. So yeah, I think it can become very limiting, and then we fulfill someone else's purpose for us. And which I'm glad I went to college. I do not regret that, but that was a part of someone else's purpose for me at the time, because had I have had my own way, I just wouldn't have gone. I think I would have still gone to college. I would have definitely stayed closer to home. So you're right, we have to teach women something different.
Yeah, there's now I wish I like could easily pull up the statistics on like men that stay single are unhealthier, women that stay single are healthier, women in marriages are unhealthy, and men in marriages are the most healthy. And that's because women pour everything into their husbands. And I wish I knew all of the stats like that, but I just thought like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so interesting that single men are actually very unhealthy because they don't know how to do it on their own.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
be
think
knocking on some men right now. I'm sorry. I love you.
sorry guys, the research is the research, okay?
And it may
It's not
not
Kate.
lie.
It's
Look
not
it up.
Kate. She is great, okay? It's not her.
I didn't write it. I just repeat it. But it is so true. But I was like,
Yeah.
wow, like single women thrive. They really do
Mhm.
thrive. And again, why? Because they're living in their purpose and they're not having to divide all of their energy into all of these other buckets. So I'm like, anything that I can do to help women like fulfill their purpose and put energy in that bucket. Yeah, you
Yeah.
okay, granted we're going to have to put, bucket enough energy into all of the buckets, but like
Yeah.
don't forget this one. It's so important.
It's
In the
so
end,
important.
it's I mean, it's going to be with the things that people really remember you for.
Yeah. I agree. And I don't know the stats either, but I have heard about the stats. And I have seen a trend over the last 4 to 5 years where women have just decided to be single. And they're like, I'm fine being single
Mhm.
because I need to be able to fulfill my purpose. And I've heard these stories from women. They know that if they get in a relationship, they're going to turn their all of their energy towards a man. And I'm happily married. We're about to hit 14 years this summer. So
Congrats.
thank you. Men, maybe you'll like to hear this. We're not bashing men today. It's more so just about challenging some of these assumptions we've had as women. And y'all are a part of that sometimes when women choose to be booed up with you.
Yeah, true story. True story. And I'm like, and I'm engaged. So I'm like, I'm not a man
Congrats.
hater.
Right. She's happily engaged.
Happily engaged. I love him. But he also he knows how important this is. And
Yeah.
and because of that, he has walked into that very, very slowly in understanding like you cannot and will not take me off course. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do it. And so he's great about it. He's so supportive and embracing it because he knows that if I continue that, hey, I'm gonna feel better about my life. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna be healthier. I am gonna be healthier. There's no probably about that. I've met
Yeah.
me.
Let's claim it.
That's facts. But like, we'll both be happy then. And I'm encouraging of him really figuring out what his purpose is too. He's felt
Yeah.
very lost along the way. And so I'm leading by example, which is nice.
Good. Well, and you know what I really like about what you just said, and this is just a little bit I know about you, but you don't seem to be the woman that would present in a relationship and say, "Oh, well, tell me your dreams and goals. Tell me what your purpose is, and we don't have to focus on mine." You seem to be bold with it. Like, this is what I'm here to do in life, and I know it. But how long did it take you to get to that place? Like, were you just a young adult like that, or did this take some developing?
I'm so I'm gonna say I'm an anomaly. And
Okay.
the people that I went through my assessment coaching certification and everything else, they have also identified me as an anomaly. Is because which I'm like, I feel like I just got brought up to the head of the class because I've always known.
Really?
Yeah. When I was really young, I've always been a helper. So my purpose assessment, I'm a recruiter. So I'm
Okay.
like everybody's cheerleader. If you didn't know, now you know. That's
Now
why
you
I'm
know.
Kate. Kate, she is great.
Hey, hey.
I've been living it my whole life. Like I am the person who's going to come find you and I'm going to like come at you like, all right, you got a problem, like let's figure it out, right? And that's just how I show up in the world. My acquired skill is I'm a messenger.
Mhm.
this is this is my gift and I've had it my whole life. I've never
Yeah.
stopped talking. God, as a kid, I would just walk up to people and have them start telling me whatever their problems were and I'd be like, "Let's figure out how to again fix it." Right?
Yeah.
Homeless people in Chicago. And I was telling dear Don this yesterday as we were walking around downtown. I was like, I used to just walk up to people and have them tell me what their problem was. And if I could solve it, I did. If that meant that they were hungry, I would go and find them food. If that meant that I had to panhandle, because
You did.
I did like a knucklehead to give them money because people would give me money because I would just be talking like I'm trying to help somebody else out. Could you like whatever you can spare? That would be great. I'm going to give it to that person over there. And
Yeah.
they're like, "What? Yeah. Oh yeah." Like one time I remember this, $25. Just me like asking random people on the sidewalk. $25, give it to a homeless person. Now, was that maybe the smartest choice? You know, probably not, but
Yeah.
it solved a problem. And that's it's just how I've been. I will talk to anybody and everybody, but that's because messenger is like
Yeah.
my acquired skill. I'm a hurt healer.
Okay. Hurt
So
healer.
yeah, that's my pull passion, which again is what led me to being a therapist. I was also a firefighter and a paramedic at a very
Okay.
young age. So like seeing people in pain is what prompts me to take action. And then my origin strength, I'm all in. I have two speeds,
All in.
which can you tell?
You
I'm
were all in
either
for this podcast. You're like,
I
I'll come on your
was.
podcast. All in.
It was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. But it's like if it's gonna help other people, again, it's no-brainer on my end. But I
Yeah.
do have two speeds. I'm either gonna be like a step back in evaluation, or it's all right, shoes are on, shovels in the trunk. What are we doing? Who we burying?
Yeah. You are really all in, okay? This is ride or die. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you knew these things about yourself
Mhm.
because, these are things that I had to develop. I would say I didn't find my purpose until 5 years ago. Like, it was pretty recent when I was like, oh, it's not just to be a psychotherapist. That's like the tip of the iceberg for me. So I really have been on this journey over the last 5 years of self-discovery and spiritual discovery, like more depth to my spirituality
For
and
sure.
and my religion and connection with God. And so so many layers have been uncovered and many things have been repaired too. And so I'm just thinking, I know so many women like myself who just didn't know their purpose. They didn't just, they're not an anomaly like Kate, she is great. And how important is it that that gets nurtured at a younger age for women? And so what does your clientele look like? Like what's the age range? Like how soon are you getting to really work on the recovery with the purpose and the fulfillment with women?
The nice thing is the assessment that I use, I can start as early as 10th grade.
Hit the grade.
Yeah. Can you
I love that.
imagine giving kids in high school
Yeah.
an assessment that helps them direct where they should go and like what direction? Like, now, again, not a mom, but I worry about the kids that go to school these days. A lot of them because they're just looking for an escape. Not a great decision to choose college, especially these days with it being so expensive. But the other part is like when they go and they're not taking courses that really help in their alignment, right? They don't know what to take. They don't know what to become when they grow up, right? And if we can like trim some of the fat on that for them and help them and step into those things. I mean, you and I are both therapists, and we've definitely both come across people who should, I'm going to say it out loud, 10 toes down, not be in the field,
Yeah. Definitely.
right? And again, it's out of their own purpose alignment, misalignment. But they believe, like, I mean, you and I have come across them all, everybody should be able to do this.
Yes.
No, no.
Eh. This feels like a calling for me. I'm not saying it has to be a calling for everyone, but you
Yeah,
gotta
mine
wanna
was a
do it.
calling too. Absolutely, mine was a calling. Mine, I mean, I was going to school to be a pediatrician, and it was the nope, that's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to balance everything out, and that's how I ended up in psychology.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we could trim the fat and help kids make those decisions earlier so that they're not wasting time, energy, and money that they just don't have, like,
Yeah.
man, I want to be a part of that movement for them and their parents.
Yeah. I needed a Kate. I needed a Kate in 10th grade. Seriously, because I mean, again, I'm just thinking so much. Going into college, I kept thinking, well, I don't really know what I wanna do. I didn't know what I wanted to do until, almost a year after college. After I graduated, I'm working full time, and I'm like, "What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing?"
Right.
And that's when I started thinking, "Well, I really have an interest in psychotherapy. I wanna learn more about it. I wanna help people heal the way that I've healed." But I was 21 at that point, you know? So in high school, again, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but what if someone would have given me this type of assessment in 10th grade and I could have thought about all these things and thought outside the box to know that there's more than just the limitations you're putting on yourself. And I want to say too very clearly, just in case anyone is thinking, oh, she's against stay-at-home moms or homemakers. My mom was a homemaker for so many years. She worked full time and then she took time to be a homemaker. And when I graduated high school, she was still a homemaker. And I was specifically a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, 5 entire years. So I know how challenging it is to be a homemaker and be the project manager of the house, handling all of the schedules and taking
And the
care of these
nurse.
kids and the nurse and everything. The breastfeeding mom, like
Mhm.
I have dealt with the sleepless nights too. So anything we're talking about here is not dismissing any type of path anyone may choose for themselves or may be in now. This is all about fulfillment and finding your North Star and your purpose in life. And maybe that is homemaking. And maybe that's not going well because you need to make a few tweaks. And maybe an assessment like what Kate offers helps you understand, oh, maybe I just need to add a little bit of this or change the way I do that. Right. So but yeah, to go back to what I was saying, I was just thinking, if I would have had this sooner, it would have helped me more than going to college and not knowing what I wanted to do, having no clue because I felt pressured into a decision. Again, I looking back, I'm glad I went to college, but I did feel a lot of pressure to go to college from a variety of people. And then I'm taking all these classes that they're saying are requirements that I have no interest in. So if we look at my transcript, I'm thinking I'm a therapist. I did not need that class and I paid for it. So yeah, I know it goes beyond the academic studies. I'm just thinking how layered your work is. with women when you really talk about purpose and fulfillment, because people just think it's these statements that you throw out. Oh, what's your purpose? How do you find fulfillment in life? And it's so layered with life experiences,
Oh,
choices,
yeah.
influence from the private and social sector. It's just it's big. It's bigger than what we think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and when I say that the assessment gives you such clarity down to your leadership style, down to how you are best led, down to even like glimpses into your relationships and the people that you choose. And then even more so why you choose them. And it can give you so much clarity of like, huh, that's why I was in that relationship with that person for so long and why it didn't work,
Yeah.
right? And if we can have that much insight and information into ourselves, man, we just make less of the dumb mistakes. I would have had 10 years of my life back just on the relationships alone. 10.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that. 20. I would
20.
have had 20. Yes, 20 years because Dear Don, it was very clear after 4 weeks.
You just knew.
It was just very clear of like all of the mistakes I had made previously and then how I very deliberately showed up when just starting dating him.
Yeah.
It became so immensely clear. And I was like, okay, now I wish I had known sooner.
Yeah. Well, and you wish you had known sooner. What about the couples you work with? Are you giving this assessment to the couples and then are they just discovering, goodness, that's why I'm with him, that's why I'm with her, and then they're having these aha moments and
They are.
are these
They
people
are.
still together, Kate?
Yes.
They
Oh my
are.
God.
Okay.
If I told you, I'm like, so I, like, am I going to be able to say it? Because I might curse. Well, I have a program for couples that I do, and it's from filing to effing, because
Okay.
I'll keep it
Okay.
PG for you,
Yeah, okay.
and the best of your life. And so I've been able to turn couples in 8 to 10 weeks. I've had some that just like they drag their feet, but in 8 to 10 weeks, completely go from filing for divorce to effing the best time of their life.
I love the sound of that. People are
I
really going to read into this.
But I mean, can you imagine like being able to transition and transform your entire relationship with better understanding instead of throwing everything away? And almost all
Yeah.
of them had kids.
Yeah.
And so like if I hear one more time like, but we're staying together for the kids, don't do
Mhm.
that. Please
Yeah.
don't put all that pressure on your kids. That's not fair to them.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. For a while there was a wave of me getting adult clients whose parents had gotten divorced as they were adults, and they were having such a hard time with it. Like, was my childhood fake? What was
Oh
that?
yeah.
Because y'all were pretending, and here I am thinking everything's fine, and now you tell me all of that was not true, and you made up this facade. You pretended to be happy because you wanted to keep our family together and you wanted us to be kids. And now I'm in my second or third year of college trying to navigate your divorce and what that means for me and my childhood experience. So much
Right.
starts to come
Right.
up for people. So yeah, I think it's good for people to hear that there are options if they are considering divorce and they're staying together for the kids. Your program, I can't even repeat it. You know what you heard, people. From filing to effing. And then what was the little tagline at
The
the end?
best of your life.
The best of your life. There are programs that will help you as married couples get to that point where you're living the best of your life. And marriage is hard enough. So I really wish more people would pursue help because it's not easy.
And not at the end. Not
Yeah,
just sweeping it under the rug. If I'm going to can I tell you my secret?
tell me. I love
Okay.
secrets. I keep them too, but I won't be able to keep it on here.
I have told so many people, I'm like, the moment you decide to say I do, you have entered into a business contract. On that business contract, you have the right to re-up that contract annually. So for all of my people and Dear Don, he's already had to go through it twice. Well, I'll just pray for Dear Don. And it's a good
Pray
thing
for
he's at home.
say a silent prayer for dear Don.
Dear Don. But every year on our anniversary, we sit down and separately come up with like what our goals are, what are we pleased with. We evaluate the relationship over the last year. And then like how do we feel? We sit down and have dinner And we talk about that in real time. We can't do it in a restaurant because that's not nice, because sometimes I have some things I have to say to him, and I can't make him cry in a restaurant.
Yeah, don't make him cry in the restaurant. Maybe on the way
Sometimes I
home.
do have to make him cry. But we're really honest about it. Like, whatever our goals that we set from the previous year, did we attain them? Did we cross the finish line? How close did we get? And then, like, what do we want to set up for the next year? But it's always a re-up. It's I love you, but do I still like you enough to do this again?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just every year we recommit to it. And I've had so many people, they're like, that sounds like a business contract. Well, guess what? The moment you got the state involved in your marriage, you have a business contract.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yep. The state's involved, honey. To sever that, you have to go
Right.
through a legal procedure. So this is a business contract too.
It is a business
Maybe a
contract.
spiritual contract. It's also legal.
All of those, and it is an emotional contract. If I'm not happy, I need to be able to evaluate that and speak honestly about it in the moment. And we're either going to invest in fixing it, or those are those opportunities, right? Because we haven't let it get out of our control in a year. Like, if I can say to you honestly, like, I'm not happy, this doesn't work for me, we're going to be more ease into stepping into a divorce, because we're going to do it with kindness and compassion. And that's what most people need to learn, is you can do that with kindness, compassion. When you involve lawyers, lawyers are going for your money.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
wish more people knew and understand that. Any lawyer who tells you, yeah, we're going to make them pay. No, they're actually making you pay. They are the only people that win in a divorce.
Yep. Yep. They really are. They really are. I was following this lawyer. She's out in Atlanta on TikTok, and she focuses on encouraging women to pursue mediation over going to court. And she's very honest. We can
Mhm.
go to court and it's just going to drain you financially. And that's not what you want. You want to have a clean break, as clean as possible. When two people, I think, are evolved and they're mentally healthy and they have emotional intelligence and all these things are present, they're fulfilled in their lives individually before they bring themselves into partnership, there's probably less likelihood that people would fight in that way and get in front of a judge, get to that point. I love, yeah, I love what you talk about though. You two having this business meeting at the end of the year. My husband and I talk about our goals and we kind of check in every few months or so. I don't know what the, the cadence is for it, but we definitely do something similar. And, I used to joke with him. So I really want him to listen to this episode because I used to joke and say, I have receipts and there's a return policy. We have to renew. He's like, no, we're with each other for life. We don't need to renew. I'm like, there's a renewal. So, but when you describe it, I'm thinking, well, what if these two people, they're in partnership, they come together at the end of the year, and I know you mostly work with women with your assessment, right? I think that's what you were saying. And the husband he's filled out his, but she hasn't filled out hers. We could avoid even that and make sure she's coming to the table with something on that list if she has found her purpose, found some fulfillment in herself individually.
It makes her put herself on the board. And that becomes really important, because it's not just what I want or what we want or what you want. Like, it's all of that.
Yeah.
How are we both going to show up and help the other person achieve their goals as well?
Yeah. I love that. So, what are some of the misconceptions that you get about the work that you do with people and finding their purpose, fulfillment, alignment?
I would say the biggest misconception I get is that people think passion and purpose are the same thing, and they're not. Passion is short term and it's an emotional expression, right? Like I'm passionate about scuba diving. That's short term. But your
Yeah.
purpose is for the long game. I was like, I pulled up it's your deeper why, right? And we're all born into a purpose. We learn how to be passionate about things. And again, it just goes back to like our experience and like what gives us the feel goods. That's where that's where your passion comes in. And that's why, like, your passion is a part of your purpose, but in for a frame of reference, I'm like, passion becomes the problems you like to solve. They're the ones
Mm,
that you're automatically drawn towards. So like you and me, it's talk. right? On so many levels, we
Yeah.
talk through the problems that other people have, helping them find solutions, usually in themselves, right? We end up being the mirror, putting them in front of that,
Yeah. I
and
love your
helping them
explanation.
see and understand themselves in their most authentic way. I would not say that that was,
Like, that was so
oh,
beautiful.
well,
Did you
thanks.
practice that?
Nothing like shooting from the hip, or I've said it a
Yeah.
thousand
It's just
times.
coming from the heart. Yeah. It's beautiful though, because we can
Yeah,
easily
yeah,
lump passion and purpose together. And I think when we separate them, it does allow for deeper exploration because we're not just throwing something out there. Like, no, I'm happy today. How are you doing today? There's a local psychiatrist. She has a podcast, and her big thing is like asking people, "No, how are you really doing?" And going to one of her, "How are you really feeling today?" As a mental health provider, and we all didn't just go around and say, "I'm
are you
feeling great. I'm
really
feeling great." No, no, no.
feeling?
How are you really feeling? Like that changes it when you put really in there. Oh, really? I'm going through some transition and I'm navigating it well, and still it's stressful at times. That goes beyond the happy. That goes beyond just I'm passionate about being a therapist. There's a deeper meaning to the purpose of being a psychotherapist, to the purpose of being a purpose coach. So love
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know too, what type of mental health challenges do you see people having when they're not in alignment with their purpose? Specifically, especially anxiety, since that's the title of the podcast. Do you see high anxiety in people? Is there depression? What else do you see?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say, and strangely, a lot of the people that I see that have real loss to their purpose, they're more of the, I would say, personality disorders. They're like hysterical, but a lot of it just anxiety, depression, deep depression. When you don't know who you are, or you're lost in that misconception that you're supposed to be a certain way or in order to be accepted, because that is a just killer trend right now, emphasis on the killer, right? Like that I have to be like everybody else. No, your purpose is
That's
going
so
to make
true.
you uniquely you and how you fulfill it. Like you and I, while we're both therapists, right? Like we do it in very different ways.
I imagine some of the clientele you work with have significant trauma history, and maybe that impacts their passion and purpose.
That impacts their origin story, how they overcome the problems that they have had to face. That becomes a part of their origin story, but also getting them to shift their mindset around that, because from your origin story, you get an origin strength, which becomes a value. When you live within alignment to your values as well, right? We feel better.
Like the physical connection, the mental connection with our parenting and how we interact with our friends. It's huge. So I'm glad that you have an assessment to guide the work that you do. Is there anything you haven't shared about finding that North Star and being in alignment with our passion and purpose that you'd like to share?
I feel like I've talked about so much of it. I mean, love it. I love the fact that because there's so many people out there that are looking for it, and there's so many people out there that coach around it. And a lot of what they're doing is intuitive. And so I like the fact that I can give people something concrete. The assessment is great in that it can work
Yeah.
in like regular coaching and therapy practice, but it can also go to corporate. So helping corporations understand, because they have to put the human back in humanity in corporations, and understanding the people that they hire and like where they're best going to provide the best of who they are, even in a work situation. And
Yeah.
that's so valuable. That's like my next leap into that's where I'm iterating next, is like, how can I help companies really meet the truest needs of their staff? And that'll include things like not having as much turnover in companies, people feeling safer at work, feeling more seen and appreciated at work.
I think we're going to be seeing a trend where more services like yours are needed in corporations who, like you said, want to put the human element back into it and want to really show the people that are employed by them that we care about you as humans and we want to know
Oh,
how
yeah.
best to interact with you. We want to know your strengths. We want to know the things you're working on. And no, it's not to take advantage of you. It's because we want to grow with you as this company grows. So I love that you're taking it to this next iteration and bringing it to companies as well. It's really beautiful.
Me too. I gotta say, I'm nervous about it because I haven't been a corporate girl in a very long time.
You can tell when you speak, it's from a place of your own fulfillment and you just want others to achieve that. So I love that about you.
God, if I could gift that, like that would fulfill my biggest gift to the world is if I could do that genuinely. I've probably, as a divorce mediator, as a therapist, I worked with personality disorders my entire career. Like if I could just give them that,
Yeah.
every person I come across, if I could just give them that one gift, it is what I would want to give. And that comes from like me being a first responder very early on in life. The first responder in me never died.
I've really had a beautiful time chatting with you today on this
Mm-hmm.
topic. I think so many people are going to be blessed by it when they listen. And I think we're going to get some made in the comments. We're going to have some feedback for us, and that's okay.
Like, we're not hating.
If you're listening, we have Kate
Sure.
Juozaitis on with us. She is a purpose coach. She's also a psychotherapist, and she's one of the best people I have met on the TV show that we were on. This is the Anxiety and Free podcast. I want you to continue to tune in. My goal is always for you to not just learn more about life's anxieties, but to maybe consider therapy at the end of these conversations. And specifically with this episode, consider working with Kate. If you are a part of a company, if you are an individual, maybe you're a couple and you're thinking, we were on the brink of divorce, well, she has help for you. So, Kate, is there anything you want to share that you're offering right now, a way people can find you? Just any information you can share with us.
They can find me at Lift As You Climb or climbcoaching@gmail.com. Thank you.
The Anxiety and Free podcast is sponsored by Find My Therapist, connecting you with therapists at findmytherapist.us. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need it. Tune in next week for more conversations on navigating mental health and finding your freedom.